Hello everyone and welcome to Helix Cloud Games. My name is Richie and joining me this week is the host of Talking the PS at CyberChris2077, Mr. Chris.
Hello everyone.
No Rob for us this week. Unfortunately, he's a bit ill and didn't recover in time. He was really hoping that he'd be back in time to record. He was well in time to record, but it hasn't panned out that way. Midnight pizza, bad for you.
Good for you. From the right place.
Yes, from the right
Midnight
place.
pizza can be very good for you if it's from the right place.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll tell us more about it next week, but we've got a great show lined up for this week where we'll be discussing, is Starfield better for being Xbox exclusive, Lego Star Wars coming to the Game Pass, and Microsoft having a solution for your cold controllers this winter. All of that and much, I wish that last one was a joke. All that and much, much more on this week's XPass. But before we get into it, if you haven't already, like the video and subscribe to the channel or your podcast feed of choice with notifications turned on so you're kept in the loop with all our great content here over at Helix Cloud Games, such as Talking the PS, where we break down all the PlayStation news in the cloud every single Tuesday on YouTube and podcast services. CloudQuest, our cloud gaming discussion show, which usually drops on a Friday, but we're actually bringing this early this week, so dropping on a Wednesday, also on podcast feeds and YouTube. And the reason we're doing that is because on Thursday evening, technically Friday morning, we will be live streaming alongside the Game Awards. So you've got all that to look forward to this week. And we'll probably play a bit of Battlefield in amongst there because our last stream ended by Chris's computer dying.
Yeah, we'll get back on the Battlefield.
Yeah.
I think you suggested during our last recording we'll play some games heading into the Game Awards. Just to kind of wake us up a little bit and get us ready for all the hype moments.
It's like, I think, is it like a 1 a.m. start or something, the showcase starts UK time?
Pre-show 12:30.
So we might get an hour or so of gaming in before just to keep us awake.
Mm-hmm.
Get the juices flowing before like in the inevitable 3 or 4 hours of
advertisements
and getting hyped. For hopefully it's going to be a great show. Before we get into it, Chris, have you been playing anything interesting this week?
So over on the Xbox world, obviously Battlefield 2042, had a great time with that. I again feel like I could have performed better during our live stream. The playing a shooter through Xbox Cloud Gaming, not as crisp and clean as we know as the Stadia version was, but there was definitely parts during that which I didn't do terribly bad, but at the same time I felt like my reactions were limited down to just a delay. It felt like there was a delay in the gameplay, and I haven't played many first person competitively through the cloud, and this is the first one where I think we did quite well as a team, but definitely room for improvement, so I might rethink how I approach that. And aside from Battlefield 2042, I've also played Lost in Random as well. I checked that out using Game Pass, which of course EA's little indie title that was made in partnership, similar to It Takes Two, funded by EA. It's the one that takes place in the kind of, what I would describe it as, if you've ever seen Roald Dahl's James and the Giant Peach movie, it's like that, the game. Obviously without the Giant Peach and those characters, but in terms of like aesthetics, it's a very Tim Burton-esque inspired kind of world you're in, where it's got such a really good concept, Richie, is everyone in this world of random is based on like the roll of a dice. They've got this kind of big mythology about the dice rolls are important, and you all start on like a different level. So there's six town, I think there's Foresville, and basically you aspire to be number 6 on the roll of dice, and that's where the queen lives and she oversees everything. And random rules is kind of this like chant that everyone says. So every time you say random rules, everyone has to recite it back to you like some kind of like religious mantra. And at the beginning of the game, you and your sister, called Odd and Even, which I appreciate as well, is it's a 12th birthday, and on your 12th birthday you get to roll the dice, and if you whatever you roll, you go and live in that part of the world, like level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. But you want to be one of the 6s because you get to go live up with the queen in the fancy place, and basically it sounds like bureaucracy in the way we live with different working classes and rich and such. And I can't hear you anymore. You've done something to mute yourself.
Yeah, so it's very random, very class structure, but based on pure chance more than
it's like it reminds me of kind of like Hunger Games in terms of the districts and the way it's laid out, but then it's got that Roald Dahl grimy aesthetic. Really endearing. The characters are like cute, whimsical so far, and all I'm doing is just exploring the world and kind of figuring out a way to get my sister back because she rolls a 6. And you kind of fear that 6 maybe isn't as good as it sounds like it's going to be. Met loads of weird characters, like a giant fish creature, again, very James the Giant Peach inspired, like insects, bugs, creatures. But I've only played about an hour and a half so far. I'm about to stumble across, I think, the Dice character, who's your little sidekick in the game. But it was one that I just checked out on Game Pass, and I'm having a perfectly pleasant time with it so far.
That sounds good. Sounds really interesting. As for me, it's going to be a long slog of both God of War and Pokemon, because split my time between them. I'm watching the World Cup, and I've just bought a new guitar. Like, man of many hobbies right now. I haven't actually been in the gym this week because I was just knackered, to be honest. Back on that next week. But yeah,
good.
So it's going to be a little while. Now I think about it, this is probably why it takes me so long to get through games. Because I just have so much other stuff I have interest in, so...
That's good. Variety is the spice of life, as they say, so...
It is indeed. But you know what is the spice of life, Chris? You introducing us to
the excellently exuberant, excavated Xbox expose, a.k.a... The news. I actually forgot I was going to do that again in Rob's absence. It always catches me out, and then as soon as you start saying that line of "Chris, would you?" It's like, oh shit. But
this one's not even in Rob's absence. This is you've done it.
I know,
every single show.
But in my mind, I still just forget. I'm not used to the routine of that yet.
Yeah, the only difference in Rob's absence was I covered it for Talking the PS tomorrow.
That's true.
But
either way, nailed it.
Anyway, first news. As always, our news is brought to you by our Helix Heroes, where you can join for as little as 99p over on YouTube. Shout out to our news heroes, Dwemer and Brenton K. Thank you very much for subscribing. We'll see you in the chat. I don't know where I was going with that last bit.
We might see them in the chat.
Yeah, we'll see you in the chat.
We know we have a lot of lurkers out there who watch these shows and think, like, I like these guys, I support these guys, I listen to them. Where you at? Where you at in the Discord?
I'm actually, I'm a lurker. That's
you don't get to. Oh, you mean for us?
No, not for Helix Cloud Games.
I was like, you don't get to be a lurker for Helix Cloud Games. You should be actively out there.
Oh yeah, I'm totally a lurker for Helix Cloud Games. Here I am hosting the show.
You lurker, host lurker.
You know what? Next week I'm just going to hide under a desk and just shout.
I mean, that would be great for audio listeners, but fun for video listeners or viewers, anyway. I guess.
First story, Xbox adds more perks for Game Pass for December.
More perks?
Because, well,
what
last
we
month...
doing with all these perks?
So, I'm just going to read through them quickly. Apex Legends, you're getting a grapple gun weapon charm, a golden grapple gun weapon charm. 3 months of Apple Music, 3 months of Apple TV Plus, Sniper Rifle Bundle for Halo Infinite, MVP Pack Drop 2 for Multiverses, November member monthly bonus for Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis, RuneScape Arrival Starter Pack for Smite. Nothing major in there, but it's nice to see they keep adding new perks and stuff. I think the Apple TV stuff is probably the biggest one for me.
Yeah, I think that a lot of it, unless you actually play it, it's very relevant. It's like all the Epic Game stuff and that. I usually just skim over it, but the one that did catch my attention was the Apple TV and the Apple Music. Not so much Apple Music, because I'm very much a Spotify kind of guy, and I have been for probably well over a decade now, and that probably lends itself just more to the way Apple Music isn't as accessible on Android devices, which I've also been for many year now. So I think I mentioned last week that the Apple TV app is you can't download it it's on the Android store, but you can't download. I mean, I can't.
It's
my
limited.
Samsung. Yeah, it's not. If I go to the App Store now, my S22, it's there and all its like information and images and stuff, but I can't actually download it to this device. Same for my tablet. Annoyingly enough, I'm sure that's something they'll change eventually. But yeah, for whatever reason, when I go to it, it's just not there to download.
Yeah, I was talking about this similar stuff with that about Apple with some people at work the other day, and it's just like even like the Apple Watch, there's limited functionality on Android. So unless you have an Apple phone, you don't get the full use of this device.
Yeah,
I really hate that. It's like if I'm buying a device, I expect full functionality of the device because you're not getting a discount or anything. You're paying the same amount. But my issues with Apple aside,
that aside, the 3 months say Apple TV, definitely don't sleep on that one. I'm watching Ted Lasso at the moment, off the back of my Welcome to Wrexham hit from Rob's recommendation, enjoying that, and also Prehistoric Planet, which is David Attenborough narrating over a dinosaur documentary in the vein of Planet Earth and Blue Planet in his documentary series. So David Attenborough, legend unto himself. Dinosaurs, cool as fuck. Put them together with like modern day CGI and graphics, and great casual viewing, I'd say, in the background.
Yeah, see, I was thinking about it, but I decided I'm not going to activate it. The reason being because it's just one more thing to remember to cancel in 3 months' time, and I'm not going to. And realistically, I'm not going to use it.
That's future Chris's problem. But I have put a reminder in my phone. But if we get to this show in like middle of March, and I'm like, damn it, forgot to cancel it. But yeah, great, some decent stuff. I'm going to check out probably some of the. I signed up to it specifically now to see what their Christmas offerings was as well. See what movies they've got on there. See if there's anything unique. I think there's a new Ryan Reynolds one out with Will Ferrell. Might be worthwhile checking out. I'm not sure, but I don't probably intend to keep it beyond the 3 months, but it's good from what I've got so far, and it's free with Game Pass. Just another add-on that you wouldn't expect to have with a gaming subscription, but hey ho, I'm watching TV off the back of it.
It's nice to have these little perks built in.
Indeed.
But something that we're definitely getting that to Game Pass is Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker saga.
That's awesome. I might do a stream of that one.
I think you should.
We could do a stream of that one. Because you aren't that overly fussed on the Lego games, but you are a Star Wars fan, and it does have drop-in, drop-out co-op.
Yeah, I've never really played them. They've just never.
Yeah.
I look at them and go, yeah, that's fine if you're into it, and then I just move on. They just don't. I don't see anything in the games that makes me want to go, oh, I should give these a go. But I hear good things about them, so I was like, well, it come to Game Pass.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to pay for it. It's on the cloud, so we could just jump in and check it out.
I'm in this perpetual problem with Game Pass. There's all this cool stuff going, but it's like I don't have time to play it.
Test it out. Lego Star Wars Skywalker. I mentioned it on, I can't remember, one of our shows. I was going to try and get the Platinum, and it was far too much. It was asking for far too much of me in terms of collectibles. But in terms of a game, I do feel like there has been better Lego Star Wars games. This one had all of the potential to be the best, and I know it was revered by a lot of people as the best. But as someone who's enjoyed all of the Lego Star Wars games from the first one right through to today, I don't think it quite hits as well as it could have done. It's got a lot of shortfalls in terms of the content. There's certain movies that it covers, and it doesn't. It skims over them, whereas there could have been a video game unto themselves. Back in 2015, we got the I can't remember it. Not the Rise of Skywalker.
The sequel trilogy?
No, yeah, the reboot one. What was the first one called?
There's the prequel trilogy.
Force Awakens.
The actual movie, yeah.
The actual movie, yeah. The Force Awakens got a full Lego game. And then they never made the next one and then a one after that. And then the Skywalker saga became a thing. So obviously some point after the first game, they thought, we either don't have the time or budget or licensing to do one per movie. So let's go back in and make them all. But I tell you what, for a stream, Richie, you, me, we'll jump in. We'll check out one of the movies. Would you start at 1, 4, or 7? What episode? Because you can start anywhere. That's the thing. They allow you to start at any point.
If you're starting at 7, just close the podcast and go do something else with your life. That's just weird. 4, if you're watching the movies and you've never seen them before, 4 is your starting point. You do 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9. That is the way you should experience them if you've never experienced the story before. When I rewatch the movies, I start with 1. And I watch them in chronological order.
Okay.
What about yourself?
I'd probably say you're right, yeah. If I just watch them in the natural order, chronologically, in which I grew up with them, because that makes the most sense to me. I do think some of the most fun in the Lego games are to be had in episodes 1, 2, 3, because it was all out, like, Jedi freaking everywhere, droids getting ripped apart everywhere. So in terms of fighting and having fun, story, obviously we all know what the story was like for the prequels, but in terms of just like daft fun shit with Jedis and force powers and stuff in different locations, it lends itself to a video game adaptation very, very well.
I think story's not a problem in the prequels. It's dialogue is the problem. Like some of the dialogue is just kind of the overall concepts of the story, actually, I think are really good.
Yeah, that's true. Again, looking back on them now, they're much more favoured. In terms of the Skywalker saga, one of the big things that they miss, Rogue One. Should have been DLC, should have been story expansion. It's just the skins for Rogue One, like some of the characters, but the opportunity to tell the Rogue One story within Lego, missed that opportunity there. Because again, it's not part of the Skywalker saga, but
I need to watch Rogue One again.
Yeah. But either way, it's great. It's a great get for Game Pass alongside everything else that I'm sure you're about to list that we know confirmed for later this month.
Yeah.
And I'd love to get in, because I've been talking about Lego games for like 3 years on this channel now, and I've never actually played one on stream. So there's an opportunity.
Yeah, and it's coming to cloud, console, and PC on December the 6th. So you can pretty much play it wherever you can play Xbox. Moving on to our next December Game Pass game, and that's Hello Neighbor 2.
Hello Neighbor 2. Yeah, this one was exclusive, isn't it? Or timed exclusive. It was revealed at the Xbox Showcase about a year and a half ago, because when we were covering Stadia, we thought with them getting Hello Neighbor, Hello Engineer, and whatever else is in the Hello universe, we were surprised to see that this one actually wasn't coming.
Can get it on PS5.
Okay.
So if it was exclusive, but it was a 2021 release, so it might have been a timed exclusive.
Okay, that was probably what I'm thinking then.
I'm not entirely sure on that one. I'd have to do research, which...
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, actually, is it? Oh, no, it's... Google's saying initial release date 2021, but the Steam store page, which it takes me to, is December 6th, 2022. So maybe this is the end of the exclusivity window.
Okay.
Perhaps.
Again, I don't think you and me share that much love for the Hello Neighbor universe. Like, we had a little bit of fun in there, but it's nothing to write home about in terms of like the best horror multiplayer franchises and such.
Yeah, it's one of them when we're like covering Stadia stuff. It felt like they were determined to turn this into this massive thing. It's like, and we were just kind of sat there like, but why?
Yeah.
Like,
plus, they persistently spell neighbor wrong, so
yeah. Damn evil neighbors can't even spell things correctly. But moving on, other games coming this month to Game Pass. Chained Echoes. I'll openly admit I have not heard of Chained Echoes before. Have you, Chris? Any looked into this game at all?
Chained Echoes, no.
This will be up on December the 8th on cloud, console, and PC. Valandis is at war. The three kingdoms have been fighting for centuries. Peace seems to be no option, and yet a magical weapon of mass destruction leads to a fragile one which won't last. Prepare yourself for an adventure in a full world full of wonders, magic mechs, charming characters, airships, and vicious foes. Will you be able to make peace everlasting? This appears to be like a
big JRPG, which is why I've not paid that much attention to. It's more in your street.
Yeah,
this one than it is mine.
It's more of a throwback to like a PS1 SNES sort of era JRPG, pixel art, turn-based. I might have to check this out.
Yeah, it's definitely more in your wheelhouse than it is mine.
Although being a JRPG is probably 800 hours long.
That's also the downside.
That is the downside of being a JRPG fan.
Mm-hmm.
But moving on, we have Metal Hellsinger coming December the 8th. Up for a few Game Awards, actually. Metal Hellsinger.
It is, yeah, for audio specifically. Looked like a fun one, this one. It's kind of it's been classed as like a rhythmic metal vengeance game. First person kind of Doom meets AC/DC, I guess.
It's a rhythm game version of Doom, basically, isn't it? I should clarify that this is coming to Xbox One. It's already on Series X, S, and PC.
Yeah, it only came out in September, right? It's not that old of a game, so you're getting quite a recent release.
Did it launch directly onto Game Pass? It might have done.
Why would it be? Isn't it coming? Oh, I see what you mean. So it's coming to Xbox One Game Pass, so it's all right. So yeah, it most likely has been on Game Pass for a while.
But
tricking us with that marketing, looking like we're getting something new.
On December 13th, we're getting High on Life. Also to Cloud Console and PC. Yeah,
previously a Google Stadia exclusive until they shit the bed on that one. And then now it's coming to Xbox as an exclusive. Justin Roiland, guy, of course, of Rick and Morty fame. It's the one we've seen where you've got the talking guns and the showed extensive. This will be at the Game Awards, I feel like, this week because of it's been at pretty much every Jeff Keighley thing so far. Looks fun. I'm hoping it's not too long of an experience. I'm hoping it reviews quite well because I do appreciate Justin Roiland's humour. But I wonder if it extends to a video game for a prolonged period of time, or will it get frustrating very quick?
A 20-minute episode of Rick and Morty once every now and again is fine. I mean, if you're playing 10, 15, 20 hours and your gun just doesn't shut up.
Yeah.
And it sounds exactly like Morty. I think it grate on me.
Yeah, there's a few of the VR titles they've done are absolutely hilarious and they're fantastic. And jumping into those worlds and experiencing them with those voiceovers and that type of comedy, as you said, in small doses, very funny. But there were parts even in the VR game that I played where I think there's one random level you pop up in a forest somewhere and there's a little guy who looks like a cloud in a tree. And he pops up and he's like got a typical like Rick and Morty inspired face. He's just like, "Hey, who the fuck are you?" And you just stand there. He's like, "Get the fuck out of my forest. This is my forest. Fuck you. Hey guy. Hey, don't touch that. That's mine. Fuck you. Fuck you. Hey." He basically gives you a torrent of abuse while you're trying to figure out this puzzle. And it's funny because there's a guy in a tree swearing the hell at you. And it's funny, but like you said, if you get stuck or you can't solve the puzzle, it just becomes relentless. So if this is the gun or the weapons or the creatures in it for a full, 15, 20-hour experience, it could get quite frustrating or irritating very, very quickly. However, I feel like done right, this could be a very unique shooter with a lot of comedy.
I think is guaranteed to be a unique experience. And apparently it is. In an interview with Pure Xbox, it was apparently the director, Mike Fridley, said it's probably about 10 to 12 hours for the main story. And if you want to see everything the game has, about 20 to 25 hours.
Yeah.
I wonder if for me personally, I think Justin Roiland's style of humour, I think would grate on me in that length of time.
Yeah. The VR game I was talking about, if you want to go watch it, it's Accounting Plus.
Oh yeah,
that's the name. It literally is Smith and Smithson's Accounting Plus, and just search for YouTube the tree guy and just watch 5 minutes of this cloud in a tree giving you abuse, and you'll get a type of gist of what the game's about. But I did get the platinum in that trophy at that game. I will say I persisted for that. It was a chuckle.
Yeah,
but we'll probably be checking it out. Actually, I'm interested. I might have a look at Higher Life as a first look for the channel, so keep it tuned.
Definitely. Moving on, we have Potion Craft coming to PC and console, which is apparently an alchemist simulator where we physically interact with your tools and ingredients to brew potions. You're in full control of the whole shop, invent new recipes, attract customers, and experiment to your heart's content. Just remember, the whole town is counting on you.
Potion Craft. Interesting take.
Yeah, so this is a game that I think it's been out for a little bit. It seems to, according to Steam, is reviewing very positively. But I really don't know how to describe how it looks. I mean, there's a trailer up now for video listeners, but like, how would you describe this for like audio listeners? Like, how it has this kind of like 2D coloring book almost aesthetic.
Yeah, it's very much not in the vein of your traditional style. Inventory management, I'd say it's more like, it's actually probably closer to Football Manager than it is any actual normal video game you'd expect to do. You've got your inventory, you're mixing stuff, you're balancing alchemy, you're using ingredients, and there's some kind of like visual storytelling going on at the same time.
It all seems to be done via text or through like your menus. It's not like a Merrick's Market style thing where you're running the shop and you're running around crafting stuff on the fly to deal with your customers. It seems to be a bit slower paced, I would assume.
Yeah, again, Football Manager, but with alchemy is what I'm going to say.
But it seems to be
like
seems to be quite. It seems to be, as I said, reviews and according to Steam are very positive. So it might be one of them the kind of sleeper hits that like it just you have to experience to kind of get.
Yeah. And
the last game of the month coming to Game Pass that we know so far is Rainbow Billy: The Curse of the Leviathan, coming out December the 15th for cloud console and PC.
Now, upon seeing the name for this one, I was pretty much ready to write this off as just one of those. This should be like a Games with Gold title.
Yeah. And
then I saw the trailer, and it convinced me this should be a Games with Gold title. This game is just 3D puzzle platformer. It's a hard pass from me. So whimsical, fun cartoon, but no.
The tags on Steam are emotional indie RPG, creature collector, and cute. This is a pass for me. Like, if you're into it, have at it. But
this ain't winning no game awards.
No, I doubt it. I mean, it was released initially in October last year, so it already missed its chance. Yeah.
Oh well.
But
I won't lose any sleep.
Are you sure? But Rainbow Billy.
I won't. The only sleep I'd lose is if it gave me nightmares.
Is Rainbow Billy like a kids' TV show or something?
Possibly. I'm not even going to put the effort into researching it. Sorry, Rainbow Billy.
Let us know in the comments if you're a big Rainbow Billy fan. But moving on, Starfield. We do know Starfield is an Xbox exclusive already. Todd Howard of Bethesda has clarified that it is definitely an Xbox exclusive, Xbox and PC there is, and has went on to say that the game probably benefits from that. It's just awesome in a very Todd Howard way, saying that it's exclusive. So, to quote, from a development side, I like the ability to focus and have help from them, the top engineers at Xbox, to say, we are going to make this look incredible on the new systems, is like, from my standpoint, it's just awesome. So what are your thoughts, Chris? Because I think there's an interesting conversation here to be had. Yeah. Because we usually look at exclusivity as anti-consumer, but... No,
I think when you own the studio, you can't really criticize them for that kind of behavior anymore. And with Starfield being a brand new IP, it's no surprise. I think getting it ahead of things and clarifying that it's going to be exclusive. I think they've been smart with Starfield to not really muddy the waters or explain that it could be going to PlayStation. It might be. They've pretty much been quite explicit from quite early doors now that it's only coming to Xbox. And from my point of view, having never really played a Fallout game or a Skyrim game or anything like that, is this is my first Bethesda game I'm really going into on launch day. Like, hype, and the fact that it's a brand new IP is, I think, doing wonders for me from an outside point of view, where unlike you and Rob, who've played like many hours of Fallout, and especially you with Elder Scrolls, Morrowind, Skyrim stuff, you've got that kind of legacy with Bethesda to bring into it. I've got none of that, really. So looking at Starfield, I'm like, hell yeah, let's just make it the best it can be. I'm glad you're saying it sounds awesome and you're utilising the tools that you've got. Obviously, it got the delay, rightly or wrongly so, last year, which has pushed it back into 2023. But I'm just genuinely looking forward to seeing what, because it seems to be it's garnering that kind of hype, whether it's merited or not, that kind of Elden Ring had, where I feel like a lot of people are bigging up as it's going to be their biggest game of next year. And I do look at it sometimes and think, why? Like, what have they actually shown you to say, like, why the hell should Starfield be as big as it's made out to be? But obviously it's coming from Bethesda, but then was the last Fallout really that great? Was Fallout 76 that great? Really? No.
Fallout 76 was a very, very different thing.
Is my worry is if they can get rid of the Bethesda jank that has always been endearing in the past, that I think with Fallout 76 it hit a tipping point where people were like, right, okay, Bethesda.
I think conceptually Fallout 76 is kind of broken from the start, like not having NPCs in the world.
Yeah, but in terms of Bethesda, they've always got that pass for like glitches and bugs have always been funny, and it's like, that's just Bethesda. And I think Fallout 76 showed them that goodwill in today's day and age of video games only goes so far. And I think that was the breaking point where people were like, no, come on, get your shit together. Put a bit more polish and quality into your game, which is, I think, hopefully what they're striving for with Starfield, is to take their quality level up a notch. And as someone who's going to be in on the door day one with Game Pass, first ever Bethesda game, I hope they can tick all those boxes. I hope Starfield absolutely smashes it out of the park, because Xbox need it as well, let's be fair. They need that exclusive to rival Sony's first party.
I actually have no hype for Starfield at all.
Wow.
The thing is, my expectation for this game is Skyrim in space. And if you told me that as a concept in 2011 when Skyrim came out, I'd be all about it.
Yes.
But I'm 10 years old. I'm 11 years older now than when I played Skyrim. I've had this big open world, you are the character sort of RPG. I think I might have just moved on from that a bit.
Oh, no.
And we don't really know that much about Starfield, to be honest, apart from basically Skyrim in space.
In space.
So if it is just like a more polished, like newer version of like something like a Skyrim or Fallout, but just in a different setting, I think it might feel a bit lackluster, because I want to see some bit innovation in the genre a bit.
Yeah. It'll be quite telling with how it impacts Game Pass, because this is kind of the point of all of the money Microsoft invested in acquiring Bethesda. This is the first game to really have to pay off. It's got to show return on investment in terms of time in the oven, scope, cost. This is the game they want to bring people to Game Pass to play, rather than paying $70 for it up front.
Yeah, I think it'll sell, and a lot of people still play Skyrim even now. So it's like, I mean, that's why they keep releasing it on everything they can, because people keep buying it and keep playing it. So I think it'll sell. I think a lot of people will be really excited by it, but I think it's been so long in the oven that my interest in a game like that has just kind of waned over time.
Wow. Well, so there you go. So long-time Bethesda fan, not interested. Not really a Bethesda fan.
I wouldn't say I'm not interested. I'm lukewarm. I need to see more to really get me hyped. Just gone, Bethesda are doing another open world RPG, well, open galaxy RPG in this case. And then there's stuff like the potentially procedurally generated planets and stuff like that. I just find that sort of stuff kind of
No Man's Sky-esque.
Yeah, I just find it just bland and just not interesting. I'd rather nowadays I just prefer that much tighter narrative.
Yeah. Hopefully the marketing and stuff should really, really pick up the other side of Christmas.
Hopefully. But it does feel like this is the first kind of few beats in the marketing push. And do you expect to see this at Game Awards?
Yes, I do. I think if Xbox have any presence, this is the game they push. I think they're very well aware between Starfield and Redfall, Starfield is the definitive frontrunner for Xbox next year.
It's entirely possible next week on talking to PS, next week on XPass, I'm going, you know what, I was wrong about everything I said last week about Starfield, bollocks, I'm all in.
That penny could drop and you just go, oh wow.
Yeah, but I hope it's a success for Xbox. So I mean, if it's coming to Game, is it coming to Game Pass? I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's exclusive, so every first party title's day one.
Well, there you go. So I'll definitely be playing it because there's no reason why I wouldn't. But another game that I will be definitely playing, and I've just noticed in the doc I've named it wrong, is the remake of The Witcher 1. We have a bit more news on this now. And
was this Canis Majoris, that one of the projects that had a code name, and it's already been like proven what the code name was. They've already let that cat out of the bag.
Yes, yeah. Well, it was just announced. I think it was announced that they were remaking this game like a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month or two ago now.
CD Projekt Red did like an earnings thing where they basically revealed the whole slate of. Yeah.
This was Polaris.
Yeah. This is the one that's been siphoned out to a third-party support team.
Yeah, there's two things we know about it. One, they're expecting it to be at least 3 years away. So, don't
Seems
expect...
about right.
Yeah, I mean, basically, they've told us they're working on it. But they're also turning it into a fully open-world game, like The Witcher 3, where the original Witcher wasn't. It was like... You know how like Sonic Frontiers has kind of been pushing this kind of open zone concept? Mm-hmm. That is actually, when you look into it, it's just existed for a long time. This was kind of what every game did before like open world took over. Mm-hmm. It's basically, that's how The Witcher was. Like you'd go to areas, so you'd have a map in that area, and then you go to the next map, and then next map sort of thing. Yeah. But it seems like they're just filling in the gaps.
I mean, that's if you're going to do a modern reimagining of a game from 2007, it needs to come with some modern sensibilities, and I think people's expectations of The Witcher very much are prevalent on just The Witcher 3, yeah? So if you go and remake this and want this to do well, if it's anything less than close to the original Witcher 3 game, you're probably going to upset a lot of people who are expecting that, because, again, I don't think the general public have no concept of time frame, and that the original Witcher was an old game. So releasing it and no doubt marketing it as like the brand new entry in the Witcher series, it needs to come with that. So yeah, story driven, of course, single player, but making it an open world RPG, and I think polishing and bringing up to date those things only bodes well. As someone who never played the Witcher series at all, I've put many hours into The Witcher 3, but I always kind of got distracted by other things. But this Christmas, I'm going to go all in on the next gen update version of The Witcher 3 and fully kind of embrace this IP, because I really enjoyed the TV show until Henry Cavill leaves, and I probably won't. Yeah. And I've got intrigue for the books. Giving this version, The Witcher 1, the original, in its best form ever, is perfect for me. That's what I want. That's what I want to see them do to it. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm in mixed feelings. I don't mind like games nowadays where you go into an area, you explore that area, then you can move on to the next area, and they're just kind of maps just like link up with load screens. I'm not necessarily against that if it's done well. I mean, when I played Tales of Arise last year, that game was kind of like that, and I love that game. And it is sometimes nice to have these like a bit more condensed areas, so I can just, as someone who does like to poke in every nook and cranny.
Yeah.
Like condensing the area, so there's no like wasted area on the map where I'm just wandering over, looking, there's nothing there and nothing there. Mm-hmm. It can be nice, but I think if they just take the story, take what the current maps, and then just fill in the blanks and add some more content in and around that, probably to like add more stuff into that we learn through like lore through the later games. I think it could be I'm really looking forward to this, because I never finished The Witcher 1. I played quite a bit of it. I played quite a bit of it, but I never finished it. But I mean, I think, to be honest, CD Projekt Red showed if it gets anywhere near the level of The Witcher 3, I think we're in for a good time.
Yeah, I think CD Projekt they've definitely reassessed and recommitted to everything, and we always knew that no matter what happened with Cyberpunk, we were going to see a continuation of The Witcher series. It was too big of them to just leave on. It's like Rockstar never doing Grand Theft Auto again. Like, they were never not going to return to this well. And even though Cyberpunk had its problems, and it seemingly repaired those problems, and we know there's I think it was Codename Orion was the the Cyberpunk follow-up, and we know we've got Phantom Liberty DLC coming next year. I think they've garnered enough return of goodwill, luckily enough for them, that this project could work out very lucrative for them, because I think we've said on previous shows that a Witcher 1 remake means inevitably there is a Witcher 2 remake to bring all of these titles up to modern sensibilities.
Yeah.
And that, for this team, whether it is it the Flame and the... Who was it, the studio, did you say it was? Polaris?
No, Polaris was the code name.
Fool's Theory? Yeah, remakes made by Fool's Theory, which is a Polish studio. So again, it's close to home. It could be very lucrative for both studios, I think, this remake. And I'm again, if I enjoy The Witcher 3 as much as I'm hoping to this Christmas...
And you know what this does as well? It stalls for time a bit, because, not without spoiling The Witcher 3, it's a definitive end. The game actually has multiple endings, but all of them are kind of an ending for Geralt as a character. So I think there will be like a Witcher 4, but I think you'll be a new cast of characters and stuff. So it gives them time to kind of work through that. I could see a Witcher prequel, actually. Because the TV show that you've seen, actually, all that is leading up to where The Witcher 1 starts.
Speaking of prequel, isn't The Witcher Origins, Blood Origin TV show like out now? Like this week?
Is it out now?
Oh no, sorry, 25th of December, first episode for Christmas Day. Weird.
I thought,
this month there is a prequel material out there. Could even be out there to gauge the interest in a prequel series.
Yeah, but like the stuff, like if you think about the stuff you've seen through the last two series of the Witcher TV show, that's not been covered in the games.
Yeah, very true.
That is referred to, and there's a lot of lore that puts you where you are, but the Witcher 1 game starts later down the line. But moving on to another series that seems to be doing really well right now, Marvel's Midnight Suns reviews are in, and generally scoring quite well.
Genuinely surprised as well. I think there was some reservation about Midnight Suns that it's just a Marvel IP slapped on another game, and we know Firaxis have done great things with their style of gameplay that they've done in the past with XCOM. But actually, I think when it got delayed and then delayed again, because it was supposed to go out in February this year, so it's had quite a decent chunk of time put back in the oven, which is always, I think, sometimes worrying. And then they've almost overly spoke about it, where I feel like I got fed up of seeing Midnight Suns material in trailers. It was like, all right, come on, just get it out. But yeah, surprisingly enough, it's back out there for Axis, and it's reviewing well. It still hasn't done enough as a Marvel fan to sink its teeth into me, but that's, I think, because I'm just much more aware of what a strategy turn-based game is like, and I know it's not for me. I'm not a big JRPG fan either. Even with the Marvel IP, it still has me going like, okay. I would rather go play Square Enix's Marvel Avengers because I'm more into the action style, even though that game has its own list of problems. But yeah, 83 on Metacritic, which is great, and it's getting some good reviews.
8 and 9s mainly.
Yeah, which is a solid entry. Any more intrigue for you picking this one up, or is it still just a case of it's just not the right time for you?
It's not the right time, and again, I think it's just one of them games I'm quite happy to not play, although I'm glad it's doing well. I mean, IGN saying Marvel's Midnight Suns is an expansive tactical RPG that makes great use of card game mechanics to inject variety and unpredictability into its excellent combat. So my worry about this game was my worry about Marvel's Avengers, where they took a generic action game to slap the IP on it and tried to make the IP do the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
By just being, hey, you can play as Captain America, and that's kind of the depth outside the short campaign that you really get in that game.
Yeah.
This seems like they've went, okay, we are taking the IP, but we're going to build a Firaxis game around the IP. It feels like they've done it right the way it should be. So it's not just XCOM with Marvel characters. It is a fully fleshed out Marvel game in the style of XCOM.
Yeah. So, there are some things in there that I think critically they've said they could have been better. I think some of the not open world, but the exploration within the mansion house that you live in is coming to some criticism for being very basic like PS2, PS3 era of exploration, and you find yourself doing tasks that aren't really relevant to the characters. But I think in its entirety, it sounds like it's a great strategy game with a Marvel IP on it. So again, if you're a Marvel fan and you're an XCOM fan, then this is probably like everything you want to possibly see out of a game. But it's just nice to see that the Marvel property is being licensed, I guess, from this point of view, intelligently. Like, obviously, they've had a few blips and mistakes, but if you look at Midnight Suns and then you look over at what Insomniac are doing with their titles, and we know we've got the Star Wars stuff being, obviously not Marvel, but the Star Wars stuff being licensed out. It seems that since Dynasty Studios brought everything in-house, they seem to be partnering very smartly.
Yeah,
and it seems to be paying dividends.
Like, I still find it weird that a weird decision to give a multiplayer online games as a service style game to Crystal Dynamics, who are known for like single player, like quite linear, like the Tomb Raider games. That just, again, I think in hindsight, that's clearly was not a good fit.
Yeah, I think they knew that as well.
Which is why the single player stuff was really fun.
Yeah, I would have just had a Kamala Khan game.
Yeah,
quite
like
happily.
straight up. If they just made a Kamala Khan game, I think they would have had a better game on their hands. But Midnight Suns, it feels like for Firaxis, they've really thought about how the style of games that they make, these strategy RPGs, and how the IP, how they should work well together, rather than just slapping one over the top of the other and calling it a day.
Yeah.
Which, it's probably harsh to Avengers, but that's how it came across.
Still going. Winter Soldier DLC out last week.
Yeah. Do you think Winter Soldier will be the last?
I'm still waiting on that She-Hulk that was leaked by the voice actor, but I really don't know. I really don't know anymore. Unless it's going to have it's either going to have a big announcement at Game Awards where it's like, this year we're going hard with new content, story DLC, supporting the game bigger than ever, which I don't think they're going to do.
That should have been this year. Like, it feels that's a game that like was pretty much dead on arrival, and there's been a life support for almost its entire existence. At some point, you have to turn around and go, we're done. This is it, guys. But the fact that they haven't announced that they're not going to be making any more content yet, I don't know. I really don't know, because it just feels like, can you have a resurgence in that game at this point?
No, I think it's missed the boat. Yeah.
I think it's too long. Even like long-standing fans of the game like yourself is like, can you see a route back?
No.
Yeah, I don't think I could. I mean, I was a lot more critical than you, because I find that just button mashy, just action gameplay.
If you're a fan of it, it's probably just best to just get Midnight Suns now. It seems to be the better game.
Very different game, but it does seem to be, as it stands, not played it, but if reviewing better. Moving on to Soccer Story. So Soccer Story is coming to confirmed to come to Game Pass. And I cannot find my link. Soccer Story, got a new trailer dropped. It's coming to game. It's available now. It's is it on Game Pass right now? I believe it is. Yep. So get another look at the colourful, charming world of this comedy open world RPG about saving the world with a soccer ball. I mean, they spelled football wrong to start, but
don't start them, Richie.
I think it's good timing, actually.
It's not good timing because the USA just went out of the World Cup this past weekend. So
yeah, but there's more to the world than the USA.
Yeah, but you're joking about calling it soccer and football.
England are still in the World Cup.
They are. They beat Senegal 3-0 from our predictions.
It was 2-1.
Hopefully,
it's 2-1.
Well, we'll find out.
But yeah, I'm optimistic.
Yeah, I like the art style and Soccer Story. It looks fun. It's almost like if you took.
It feels like a Switch game.
Yeah, it feels like a Switch game.
I don't know why, but I want this on my Switch.
I mean, you could play it on your phone with the cloud, make it look like Nintendo Switch Razer Kishi combo.
The screen on my phone's too small. It's not quite the right format. Anyway, But any interest in Soccer Story? Giving it a check out?
I might check it out for a little bit. It's not really my vibe at the moment. I think I love the art style. I like the concept of what they're going with the title, and obviously it's on Game Pass, so it might be just one like Lost in Random that I just look at one day and go, yeah, I'll give that a bit of a look. But if I want to play some soccer or football, I'll play FIFA.
Yeah.
Not that obviously it's trying to be FIFA, but you know what I mean. If I've got the itch to play,
they're not
the
same niche, but yeah.
If I'm watching the World Cup and I've got the itch to enjoy football in any capacity, I'm probably just going to play FIFA.
You know, I've heard good things about like the sports story games. I think it was a golf story reviewed quite well. I think Soccer Story is probably a bit more my alley in terms of just the interest in the sport.
Yeah.
But I might check it out. This might be one of the little thing I jump into over Christmas. If I've finished God of War in time.
Dabble away.
But continuing onwards now, Bethesda are bringing out a new mobile game.
Fallout Shelter 2.
As it stands, we know it's unclear which of its franchises is going to be on. It could be a Fallout Shelter 2.
No,
I enjoyed Fallout Shelter, actually.
I enjoyed Fallout Shelter. Fallout Shelter is the most time I've put into any Fallout game.
It's the most time I've put into any mobile game.
Have you heard of Marvel Snap?
No, I haven't.
Mobile Game of the Year nominated.
You'd think they were paying us for how many times he brings it up. They're not.
I just enjoy. You know what? I joke. Now it's more of a joke that I need to get you to play Marvel Snap than it is. I've actually stopped playing Marvel Snap to a degree. I still claim like my daily free rewards, but the kind of hit of getting the points and stuff. It's now the season pass. It's becoming more of a slog where it's like I'm level, I don't know, 470 something, and it's more of like just a gradual grind now. But in terms of the gameplay, I had fun with it with what I played. I think it might get Mobile Game of the Year. However,
I think it will. I think it's a lock, to be honest. But
for this Bethesda game, this Bethesda mobile game, I think it'll be a Starfield tie-in. I think they saw loads of success with Fallout Shelter and that cross-pollination of people playing Fallout Shelter and then jumping into Fallout 4. I think they'll want that with Starfield. I don't know what it'll look like because we haven't played Starfield yet, but I think they could very much take the Starfield IP, apply it to some kind of touchscreen interface video game, whether it's for resources, there's any crossover reward. But I think Bethesda have probably learned enough from Fallout Shelter to want that synergy with their brand, and I think Starfield's kind of primed to be their next big thing. Because let's face it, like would an Elder Scrolls game right now be random as shit? Yes. Would another Fallout game? Probably, but it might have a bit of luxury off the back of Fallout Shelter's success. Like another Fallout Shelter is not going to be a bad mobile game, but if you can tie a launch of a mobile game in with your brand new IP, that seems like a shoo-in for a win-win for all parties.
Yeah, I mean, reading from an IGN article at the moment, he, referring to Todd Howard, didn't give anything else away regarding its genre release date and so on, but it did allude that it would be a more in-depth experience rather than a game intended to be played in short bursts. So I don't think this is going to be like a Fallout Shelter 2 or Starfield Shelter. It feels more of probably less of a mobile game and more of a game, for want of a better description. It's not just this thing where you click you press a few things on screen, you get lots of beeps and happen. There's a lot of colour flashing lights and goes, tenner please.
Yeah.
It might have elements of that, but I just feel like it's intended to be a bit more of a game in some ways. Yeah,
I think. I mean, what would you say, Starfield or Shuley? I think we don't know what type of game it is, but surely they're going to attach it to their latest IP.
The fact they're talking about it, but they're not giving a release date on anything, suggests that they're getting to the point where they may be starting to think about dropping trailers or something.
Yeah.
Which means I think it's more likely they've had an Elder Scrolls game, mobile game, Elder Scrolls Blades. They've had Fallout Shelter, so I think Starfield, if they really want this as like a fair tentpole for like Bethesda, I know they've got other stuff, like they've got Doom and they've got like Wolfenstein, but if they want in that RPG area, bringing some more stuff out, really pushing Starfield as an IP, I think it would be Starfield. But you know what else we've got to look forward to, Chris? This is something that we wanted on Stadia The Settlers is coming to Xbox consoles.
Hey. The Settlers. What is The Settlers?
So the Settlers, Settlers' New Allies specifically, is a Ubisoft strategy game. Where it looks like your classic strategy game. You build your own town, build your own village. You have people. You fight against other people. So
Ubisoft's Age of Empires, essentially.
Yeah, basically, yeah. The Ubisoft version of Age of Empires, it's coming out on the 17th of February. I read February as December there, next year. And it is an Xbox version in development. So when we talk about how we want this to come to something like this to come to Stadia, it was more along the lines of more PC games, making PC games that are usually locked to PC, like The Settlers, like Age of Empires, making their way to cloud gaming. Because I think cloud gaming could be the bridge to get more people back into these sort of genres. Mm-hmm. But it coming to consoles, like, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Big Age of Empires fan, of course. I mentioned it many times on the show. Never played The Settlers, but it's obviously been around for well over a decade now. Well, decades, I should say. I think it's coming up on 30 from its original. It's kind of like a little mini reboot reimagining. This particular game, it got delayed from earlier this year. It was in beta. And it looks fun. And I think seeing an Xbox-specific version of it, whether that would be with mouse and keyboard, cloud support, touch input, whatever it may be, I think it looks cool. I've always got space to try out another kind of RTS strategy game. And hopefully not too long. Well, we know we're not too long to wait now. February's just around the corner. Weirdly enough, right off the back of the Age of Empires console version in the January. So it's got almost like a 3-week window for people to enjoy Age of Empires on console, and then hopefully get teased in with The Settlers. It'll be on Ubisoft Plus and such as well. But looks good. I can't wait.
Indeed. Last few stories for the week. Chris, does your controller ever get cold at winter?
I don't know, because it's an inanimate object that doesn't require to be warm or cold.
Well, either way, Microsoft is selling mini hoodies for your Xbox controllers. For audio listeners, Chris has just put his head up and he looks like he's shivering.
Why? Why does the controller need a hoodie?
I don't. You know, when I first saw the image, I thought this was like a hoodie for a dog or something.
Yeah, I mean, it probably will fit on like a little pug or something. Chihuahua.
But it was like, it's literally a hoodie designed to go on your controllers. I don't know what to say about this.
£22 UK, $25 US. Now, I know the cost of living is going up and people have gas and energy prices. You don't need to buy a hoodie for your controller because it's
to clarify,
a stupid idea.
This isn't like something you can put on your controller to like help keep your hands warm or something. This is like a hoodie you would put on your person, on your controller, which means when the hoodie's on the controller, you can't use the controller.
No. It has a hood. A controller doesn't have a head for the hood to go in. So there's just this pointless hood attached to a controller stupidly sat in your home. Anyone who buys one of these has too much money for sense. They really, really do. Right? Xbox mini fridge. Coolest shit idea. Both literally and figuratively.
It has a function.
Yeah, it has an actual function and it looks cool. It leans into the Xbox Series X.
Is it overpriced?
Aesthetic.
Yes.
Yes. Is it too small to actually fit any relevant amount of drinks in? Yes.
Also, yes.
Is it cool though? Yes.
It's a novelty.
Yes.
But it's a functional one.
This is not.
This is just landfill. This is just stuff to go into a landfill eventually.
Yeah, when we talk about waste, this is waste.
This is one of the things you put on your controller once, then after a week of take a picture, and after a week of having it, you'll get sick of it and you'll chuck it in a bin. It will end up in a landfill. Like,
absolutely. The best thing that can come from these mini controller hoodies is if they fit animals. If I see like a hamster rocking one of these or a small dog, maybe I'll look at it and reassess my situation on it. Selling it as a hoodie for your controller.
Then just make it for a pet, one specifically for a pet.
But, yeah, there may be more like legal problems if the dog chokes or suffers or whatever, whereas I guess selling it as a hoodie and then stupid consumers put them on their animals, then they could be like, well, it was never designed for an animal. It was designed for a controller for some reason. What is this, Steve? Like, someone over at Xbox design team, go home, you're drunk.
But this is not just... This is being okayed by the higher-ups at Microsoft.
This is one of them things you were getting like a swag bag at a commercial event from the Microsoft team. They'd be like, oh, here you go. Here's your branded pens and sticky notepads and, I don't know, whatever. And you get this out and be like, oh, what? Okay. Thanks, I guess.
Yeah.
And it would stay in a drawer, in a box, in your loft for many, many years. Or you just throw it out, yeah. Don't get it. Don't understand it. What's the point?
Yeah. So, I mean...
I could come up with 20 things in the next few minutes better than this idea for Xbox branding team.
You can pre-order it until the 15th of December, and it looks like it's going to launch in mid-February. So if you've got £22 to spare, that you just decide, I just want to get rid of this on one of the most useless pieces of anything you could have, and you don't want to buy a new game, you don't want to put the savings, you don't want to spend this on a Christmas gift for someone or give it a charity, you just want to waste it. There you go.
Like, I'm looking, Richie, at the Xbox Gear store. Master Chief Funko Pop, $16.99. Cheaper, infinitely worth more visually.
Yeah.
Halo 20th Anniversary playing cards, $17.99.
Yeah.
Cheaper, also worth more. Classic original Xbox fleece crewneck sweatshirt, £32. Better. T-shirts, hats, snapbacks,
all this stuff.
Mugs, cups, pens, pencils, stickers, console pins, phone cases. All of these infinitely better than a thing.
You're missing the point, Chris. All them things, they have an actual function, which makes them terrible, because it's about selling stuff that doesn't have a function that looks good on Instagram.
Yeah, they really do. Some cool shit on this website, though, to be fair.
Should we buy one for Rob?
Grounded hoodie. You wouldn't know what to do with it.
I really, really, really wish Rob wasn't ill right now, because I would love to see his reaction to this story.
Oh, I mean, we can always ask him next week. Look at that Age of Empires logo engraved on a wine glass. That's cool.
That's cool. Like
the font for Age of Empires lends itself to drinking wine very well.
I'm not sure I'd pay £18 for a wine glass.
No, I wouldn't either. Cool too. You know what? I found another terrible one, but it still serves a purpose. There is an Xbox crossover with King Ice, which is, I think, a jewelry brand. It's for a Sphere logo necklace, which is gold plated with an Xbox logo on. It's like a gold chain necklace. £97.99. Extortionate, but you know what? It still serves a purpose. It's fashionable. You could wear it.
Yeah, it's jewelry. It's like... I'm trying to think of any other products that just don't serve any sort of function. I mean, there's a park, you can buy a parka for your beer.
But then if you're holding your beer, at least it keeps your hands off the cold can.
Yeah, so it's got a hood as well. There's a hoodie beer warmer thing, jacket.
Maybe we're going all wrong with this. Maybe the controllers, in fact, are sentient and they do get cold.
Yeah.
I'm sure they could give you some kind of hardware spiel where it's like keeping the batteries inside warm will prolong their battery life. But we should probably just leave this here before we go on our crazy ramblings.
Yeah.
Spend your money on a video game, folks. Get Game Pass for 2 months.
you know what you could do with that £20? Get 20 months of being a Helix Hero.
You could, yeah. You really
where
could.
You can get early access to like CloudQuest and to talk in the PS. And occasionally other stuff that sometimes we do early access to our first looks and stuff, and sometimes some behind the scenes content we do the odd bit here and there.
Tangible value.
Yeah,
that's what you'll get from us.
We've tried to give you stuff for your money that, well, yeah, has more function than a controller hoodie. But that's all we have time for this week. If you like this video, sorry, I say controller hoodie and I just can't keep a straight face. If you've liked the video, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, all your podcast feed of choice with notifications switched on, so you can check out all our great content. Talking the PS every Tuesday, YouTube and podcast services. Obviously, XPass comes out on a Monday, YouTube and podcast services. CloudQuest usually a Friday. Moved it this week to Wednesday because it's the Game Awards prediction episode. We wanted to get it live before the showcase. We'll be watching the Game Awards at the early hours of the morning on technically Friday. We might be playing a bit of Battlefield before on the run up to the show. We'll keep an eye on the YouTube channel for links for all that stuff going. And if you want to join the conversation even further, you can in the comments below or in our Discord server. Links are in the description. Thank you very much for watching. My name's been Richie.
I've been Chris.
Game with warm hands.